Guargura decided to leave Hololive. If you pull this up, it has 18 million views. Like, everybody on the whole internet was talking and thinking about this shit, right? And so 234,000 likes. So she was extremely popular. Like, I would say Guargura is like top 5, if not top 3 most popular VTubers, right? Her leaving Hololive is a really, really big deal. And the bigger deal about it is the fact that she's leaving, and this is what she said about it, right? Okay, all right, we gonna listen to it.
Coming tonight?
Because like you can tell at this point, like, it's over. Like, you know what this is, it's over for sure. It's cooked.
Means a lot to me that you're here right now.
Yep.
I'll keep this short and to the point. First of all, I'm really sorry for worrying you or upsetting you with this announcement.
I'm upset.
This has been a very long time coming, but today, I am here to announce that I will be graduating from Hololive on May 1st, 2025.
So, real quick, graduating, this is like a term that VTubers use. It's a holdover vestigial term from like idol culture. Whenever a member of a pop group or like a celebrity group moves on beyond that group, right? And so it's like basically graduating and leaving, these are synonymous. It's the same thing, but it's just like a euphemism, right?
My reasons being disagreements with management and company direction.
That's crazy. We're probably never gonna know actually the reason why, like what the disagreements were, etc. But I do think that, like, basically, like, her saying that, like, this has been going on for a while and it's been because of management, that's kind of a big deal. Why is this such a big deal? I can talk about it afterwards.
In September of 2020 with 4 other incredibly talented girls who I respect and admire. I had barely any streaming or singing and dancing experience before joining this company.
That's a big deal. I know people like to be rude in chat. Everybody wants to be rude and obnoxious and just like be like a mean for like no reason. This obviously, I mean, she's got 4.5 million subscribers, like 2 million people watch this. The fucking announcement on Twitter had 18 million views. Like, if you're acting like that, like, you're just being a fucking asshole, right? I don't know why you would say that. Like, you're just being a rude, stupid boomer. Honestly, you're really no different than, like, you know, your grandpa that's asked you to, you know, like, turn down the Game Boy if you're playing, you know, your Xbox. Like, just stop it. Just stop being an asshole. Stop being a dickhead.
It was
It's just so fucking
incredibly
cringe.
exciting, but also very intense and unexpected to be suddenly surrounded by so many eyes and expectations. I remember there being many days where the stress was so overwhelming that I couldn't eat or keep food down.
Yeah.
But the continuous support and patience of my wonderful community helped to lessen that feeling and pushed me to go on to do things that I didn't even know I was capable of. I am so lucky and so thankful for each and every one of you, to the opportunities given to me, and for the almost 5 years we've been able to spend together. I love singing for you and performing for you on stage or in my bedroom. You helped pull me out of my shell, and I went off from being too scared to sing alone in my shower to singing live in front of hundreds and thousands of people.
I remember that.
With you, I've been able to achieve what I thought for a very long time would be impossible for a girl like me.
No, I don't know anything inside about this.
To feel
I have
a
no
part
idea.
of something.
It's not like I have like some like inside details or insider knowledge.
I love the banter we've shared over the years. I love your clips and compilations, your cosplays, fan art, every single bit of it. I am so lucky to have been loved in such a way.
Is this contract dispute? Yeah, basically.
I have one final project to share with you, and I can't wait for you to see it. Thank you, everyone, for letting me be your little shark.
This is what's happened. So apparently, Cover Corp. So like, let me see, Hololive, Cover Corp stock, 5-day, whatever. I'm not sure if this is the right number to check or not, but it's very clear, like, the stock kind of went down, obviously, after her leaving. I mean, she's like one of the main faces of this group, and then her leaving because of that, that's kind of a big fucking deal, man. That's a massive fucking deal. That's down 10%. Yeah, that's a huge, huge amount. I don't know, like, all the details about this, but, you know, and this is what I've noticed a lot from, like, contracts, and this is something that I even talked about, like, Tectone. If anyone's shocked by Gura's decision to leave Hololive, and her main decision to is due to the company's direction, y'all need to understand how shit VTuber orgs are. Ownership of identity. That means that, like, Hololive owns Guargura. Like, she doesn't own it, they own it. it. So like if she wants to go off and do her own thing or have her own opinions or whatever, just real quick. So like this, like we just ban you. Like, yeah, why do you care this much? The reason why I care about the people that act this way is because it's disrespectful and rude for no reason. There's no real premise on it other than the fact that they just don't like it. And so when you're taking a person who's having a bad time for something that you just simply don't understand, like I would understand if this was like a person that like, you know, for example, like somebody is like crying about like, you know, getting sentenced to jail for like running somebody over, fine. But like when you just have like this free floating, like just a hostile, unpleasant energy and you're putting it out in the chat every time that you see something or somebody that you don't like, I don't want to have that in my stream. It's not useful. It doesn't add any value to the stream. I'm okay with people that are like hostile for reasons that make sense. Somebody doesn't like, you know, like some like murderer or whatever, but like this is just literally some girls streaming with like a cartoon character, right? And so like if this gets you to the point to where like you have to insult this person and like repeatedly berate them and degrade them, this is a point where you're a loser, man. You're like just an obnoxious, rude loser. And so anyway, and also like the thing is that a lot of people can never see the forest through the trees, right? Here's the forest, is the fact that these companies and these groups take advantage in a lot of cases of these content creators, and they create relationships with them that are completely one-sided, that are, I think, exploitative and predatory. And I think that they exercise a degree of control and a degree of oversight that is not coherent for like a good experience for an audience. It's not healthy for a relationship for a person to have with a management company. Like if you worked at a job and your job treated you this way, you'd be losing your fucking mind. And so when I see this, I view this as, you know, an abstraction of a bad work practice that is being applied in an industry that I'm related to, right? So whenever I'm talking about it, I'm thinking about it on that level. I'm not thinking about Guargora. I'm not even thinking about Hollow Life. I'm thinking about the idea of this and what this idea means and what her leaving, you know, how that affects this idea. So like that's where I'm at. That's where I'm in. So this is what happens with a lot of these content creators, is that they have a relationship with a company that is like predatory and exploitative. And I think that like some companies, like for example, I know like VShojo, for example, I believe allows you to retain the rights of your IP after you leave the org. So like, for example, I think Silvervale is a good example of this. Silvervale was in VShojo and then she left it. Same with Vebe, who's now Vey, left VShojo and they retained their entity, right? Their personality. And so that's a huge W for VShojo, right? It's a good thing that they did. And I think that all of these companies should look at that, and VTubers are people. They're not cartoons. They might play a cartoon, but they're not. And they should be treated like people and not cartoons and not comics or drawings. I think that a lot of these systems are really holdovers from, you know, like Japanese idol culture maybe, or some other form of exploitative practice. The fact is that VTubers make the org doesn't make the VTuber. And I think that the more indie VTubers you have, and indie ones are the ones that aren't part of one of these big orgs, the more of them that come out and that are successful, the more that will be proven. And so I'm very happy to see this happen in a way, because it shows that the tide is turning and you can have people that are really well known who are willing to throw in the towel rather than continue to be theoretically, I mean, we don't know the details of this, but exploited, put in places that they don't want to be in, made to feel uncomfortable, etc. So yeah, I find this to be a very, very good thing. Why doesn't she keep streaming independently? So the funny thing about that is that's what's happened, is that this is what's happened, not now, but just a second. So this girl, Doki Bird, used to be a personality previously in another like VTubing agency like Hololive, and it was called Nija Sanji. And she was removed from Nija Sanji, or she left. I don't remember like all the details. And Nija Sanji had pretty much everybody who was part of the group around her, like pretty much all like act like robots, saying the same thing, doing the same thing, so they could look like they were like stronger without her. And so like she left that org, and if you look at like her YouTube channel, for example, as far as I know, like she's still doing very well, she still gets views, etc. And this is a good thing, by the way. It's a very good thing. And she's popular on Twitter, etc. So I think this is going to continue to be the case. And as more and more VTubers like Gura and Dokibird, as more of them go, you know, quote indie, and they don't need to be represented by like one big group like this, I think that the more that they're going to have like the rights of their own and they can decide to do what they want. And speaking of that, I'll look at this again. Cover Corporation, this is the corporation that owns Hololive. Their stock went down by, look at this. You know, this is another, you know, it's another liberation. Like she just gets like they just got tariffed, right? It's not so good. And again, you look at this number, right? I mean, it's not like the worst number you've ever seen, but it's certainly not a good one either. Like you look at this and, you know, it was down like a little bit before, etc. Machinima wanted this walk so this company could run into the ground. Well, actually, like, so idol management companies in Japan and Korea walked so Machinima could trip and fall and die. And then, you know, Hololive and these other companies could look at Machinima and say, okay, well, let's do that, but not trip and fall. And so it's a little bit different, right? Because this has been going on, like this premise has been going on for a very, very long time, and it predates internet culture. So like, for example, like idols in certain places are not even allowed to publicly have a boyfriend or a girlfriend even, because if you do that, it can fuck with the fantasy that the audience has with you. And in my opinion, I find this to be, I think it's sick, to be honest. I think it's sick and weird and disgusting. And the reason why is that if you take it to the second level and you take it to like the next like frame of conclusion, they're basically farming weirdos that are obsessed with them. Like that's it. And they want to sell a fake fantasy to a bunch of like lonely weirdos. And I just think that's like, it's unhealthy. I don't really know. I don't like using the word predatory, but it is predatory to an extent. It's just gross, bro. Like it's weird. Do you know how much these companies pay? The odds are a lot of these girls are probably compensated pretty well. Like I would assume that they are, and they probably have like a relatively good payout, etc. So I'm not trying to say like that they're not making any money or whatever, but I think that it's not really always about money. And especially like, I mean, for somebody that's this popular, like you've pretty much hit the threshold of like, I'm making enough money years ago. And so like now you're in a totally different threshold, a totally different world. So yeah, that's really it. No dating, Asmon. Well, again, and you have streamers like, and this is the thing is that like, especially early on, and even girl streamers have this problem. Have you guys ever seen like a girl streamer that gets a boyfriend and then like immediately a lot of her like donators or, you know, sub gifters or, you know, like even her viewership at a macro level drops massively? Well, the reason why that happens, here's the reason why. It's because these people weren't giving her money. They were giving her money with like the weird mentally ill hope that maybe if I do enough of these things that she'll notice me and she'll have sex with me. That is actually like, and a lot of people don't want to say this, right? Nobody wants to say this, but that actually is how simple it is. Because if, what could be the other reason if you start dating somebody and then you hate the person then? Well, I wonder. I fucking wonder. Like, what are we even talking about? It's obvious. And so that's it. They're simps. Yeah, they are. They're simps. And so, like, if you have a culture around farming simps, and I'm not saying this is what they do, but this is like an idol culture vestige, as I said, of like farming simps, lying to them about your relationships, etc. You make your bed. You do. And you make it with a bunch of fucking freaks. That's the facts. A bunch of fucking freak weirdos, controlling, unpleasant, fucking like just the worst people. You never want to be around these people in real life. And that's it. Is Asmongold single? Yes, of course. I don't want bro, like, yes. I don't want people to lose the fantasy. Yeah, but I mean, for her, like, I think that what she did is incredible. The level of success that she achieved is, you know, really respectable. It's tremendously respectable. And I'm glad to see, you know, like so many people supporting her. And that's where I'm at.